Welcome to War Games. We will get you ready for your next sales opportunity. Are you looking to win the sales battle? You have joined the right team. Here on the War Games Group, we take the strategies and mindsets from the most successful salespeople and share it with you. With our help, you won't have to fail your way to the top. When it comes to crossing the minefield of sales, step in the footprints of those that crossed before you. Prepare yourself for boot camp and beyond. It's time for War Games to begin.
Shall we play a game?
Welcome, everybody, to War Games. Thanks, everybody, for popping on. I'm going to go ahead and add some VIPs and our guest trainers into the War Games Live. Look at everybody coming up. It's getting really pretty up on this stage, as you can tell. So I wanted today to sit back with you guys and say I need to provide some value, and I need to bring out some people that can help you in your business on your entrepreneurial journey, right? Whether you're a sales professional or you have your own business, right? One of the things that we focus on in War Games is sales, marketing, and mindset, right? And I've got two guys coming on board today that are going to share with you the marketing piece, and also that one thing that is always scary to me, which is that virtual assistant world, right? So you go, yeah, there's virtual assistants, but how do I use them? What is it that's going to make it valuable for me to use that? And can it help you scale? Right? And that's what I look at. And so for these questions, I turn to my friends over at Monster Kong Marketing, right? What a cool name. Let's be real. Yeah. Okay. And so you're always going to remember Monster Kong with the giant ape. And you guys saw that on the other video I posted to begin with. But what I want to do is welcome Alexander, and I want to welcome Mac, but we'll call him Daniel Mac. That goes in. But now I'm going to warn everybody, they talk funny. Okay. So you're going to have to, try to figure out what they're saying. But it's going to be some valuable information. And I want you guys to understand, one, how to market, how do you market effectively, and what they can do to help you to market. And then also when it comes to having a virtual assistant, how can you do it inexpensively and effectively so that you can grow your business? So guys, welcome to War Games.
Thank you, Joe, for having us. Nice to meet you, everybody. Hope you're all having a great day. So my name is Alexander James Jansen from Monster Kong Marketing in the southwest of Ireland. And this is Daniel as well, also.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you.
Daniel, you sound like Alexander. I don't know if you know that.
Just a
bit. Yeah.
So we got a bunch of people jumping on to say hi to everybody. So you can see, I'm adding them up here so you can check it out. So sales, marketing, mindset. Kimberly's here. We love Kimberly Slavic. She's here all the time. Farha, hello, my friend. Luigi jumped in. Okay. And then somebody loves Sherry, but it's just a Facebook user, so we would have to check. So that's what we're looking at. But okay, so let's get the comment off and let's get crazy. So who's going to talk first, Alexander or Daniel? You want me to just say it's going to be the two of you? Oh, Daniel stepped up and said it's all about me. It's all about me is what he said. So I'm going to jump over here, and then Daniel, switch with me real quick, okay? Woo! There we go. Nice.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. So my name is Daniel McSweeney from the southwest of Ireland. And I'm one of the CEOs of Monster Kong Marketing, along with Alexander James Jansen. I don't know which way my hands are pointing. He should be over there somewhere. But, we started Monster Kong Marketing a few years back because of the two of us. We both started years ago by ourselves working on a lot of stuff for other people, like Facebook ads, Facebook groups and stuff like that. But eventually we came to figure out. Sorry, guys. Just a second. I'll be right back.
Something went down there. I think his camera might have gone. Oh, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Okay, I still hear you, Alexander.
Yeah. So I'll continue off where Dan was there. So we basically started, let's say, roughly around 4 or 5, 6 years ago. And what happened was we were both working jobs that we hated, right? So I was in a hospital, Daniel was in a, what would I say, in a factory doing PVC, right? And I was in a hospital, I was having problems with the air fresheners, with my breathing. There was a whole lot of issues that was going down. And we're both trying to figure out at nighttime, okay, how do we get out of these jobs that we hate? And how do we start growing and scaling, basically? So, what we did was we started learning how to grow Facebook groups. We started learning how to do Instagram and stuff like that. And what we figured out very quickly was that doing it organically was something that for us was just really, really beneficial because we didn't have any money at the time, right? So we were totally broke, no money, only an idea of getting out of the situation we were in. And so as we moved along with that, basically what happened was we started growing Facebook groups, we started scaling that way. And then later on, it kind of turned into, I guess, looking to scale. But what we did then was we started using the likes of WhatsApp and stuff like that. So we started, scraping numbers, basically adding in those numbers into WhatsApp from Instagram directly. And then from there, we started getting leads very, very quickly, right? So we were able to immediately message these people, even though like they could have been on, the way you'd normally have like an email on Instagram or whatever, you jump over and you would try and email them, right? So we weren't getting responses. And again, we had no money. So we used to DM around the clock, like DM, just keep sending DMs. And basically what it did was it became a game of numbers, right? So we would just keep DMing, we would get people that would come in, some would bite, some wouldn't, we were useless at the time at sales and all of that stuff, but we did have a good product. And at the time it was just growing Facebook groups and doing funnels and things like that. So that's kind of how we started initially. And then with the WhatsApp stuff, that became really, really valuable to us because having those numbers, like we would just, go over to Instagram, find the number, we would like get block lists of numbers, we'd add them all on WhatsApp. Some of them wouldn't be on WhatsApp, some would be. And then we would voice message them, right? And so we would get hits back very, very quickly. So that was the initial start of it. Then what happened to scale, we kind of brought in the virtual assistant side of stuff, which I know Joe wanted us to talk about on this one. The virtual assistant part of the stuff came where we were looking to scale. We couldn't scale quickly. We also couldn't find virtual assistants that were any good, right? So we found the virtual assistants. We were like, hey guys, can you do X, Y, and Z? And they're like, yeah, we can. And they tell you that they could. But then we realized that, the truth of the matter was that they were not good at what they were doing, what they were telling us, right? So we figured, okay, we've got a lot of info, got a lot of information. What we need to do is we need to train these people. So we would find the virtual assistants. We already knew how to grow Facebook groups pretty quickly. So we would add them in. And so we created the MonsterCon Marketing Academy, which is where we now train thousands of virtual assistants. And we basically started using them in our own business first. And then after that, we started, hiring them out to other people and basically giving them a better life as well, right? So there's some people that just want time freedom. They might want to wake up in the morning, have a coffee down in, I don't know, Starbucks, whatever, switch on their mobile, do some work, or go to a coffee shop or open their laptop in Dublin or Hong Kong or wherever it is, or they might just want more time with their kids or their family. So we've been able to provide through what we do in the training, the ability for those people to be able to do that, also have a great life, and also help us grow in the process. So that's kind of initial start on how we kind of started with the stuff.
Fantastic. Thank you. Daniel, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Something happened on my computer there, and I had to just get rid of a couple of things.
Okay, absolutely. Look, you two switch. What? Look at that. I'm like a magician over here.
Nice to see you.
So, okay. So can we talk about some effective ways that somebody can market as the entrepreneur and stuff? So, what Alexander told us was that you had to do it yourself with no budget and going through and learn it the hard way, right? And one of the things I don't want to do is learn the hard way, right? That's my personal thing is I go, dude, save me some time, save me some money, right? Save me from having to, right? I would love to say I have all the time in the world to go learn everything. But then again, I get paid based on my expertise. So I would expect, the same thing to say, hey guys, let's try and figure out what we can do. So what do you recommend for somebody that, like, for example, I've connected you with several people, and I have them on the stage too, on how to help them with their business and what is it that they can do to make their name known, for one, and then second, how do we make some money? So
yeah, so like Alex was saying there a while ago, we started off organically, with Facebook groups and connecting with a lot of people and stuff like that, and figuring out the aspects of the branding, and figuring out as well how everything connects. So it's basically like the spider's web. And if you think about the spider's web, it's basically the center point spreads out to everywhere else. So like we use Facebook groups at the very start of our business to connect with a lot of people, because they came in from Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and other social media platforms, all into one place where we could connect with them and build basically a brand. So that's what we kind of tell people: pick your spider's web, pick the center point where you want to connect with your community, and it's all about content, community, and consistency. As long as you're creating content for your community at a consistent level, you're going to grow massively. And with that as well, there's for an example, it doesn't have to be a Facebook group, it can be anywhere. So like we use WhatsApp for our community right now, so we connect with a lot of entrepreneurs, businesses, and even our virtual assistants, and a lot more than that within WhatsApp, connecting with people in there. And we suggest that with customers as well, that they connect with other people as well through WhatsApp. Why WhatsApp? Because massive voice clips, on Facebook Messenger or Instagram or anywhere else, very, very short voice clips. But on WhatsApp, you can record as long as you want. I think up to 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that. But also
I've got
WhatsApp
several of those from Alexander. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to talk.
Yeah.
I like the voice messages.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like WhatsApp either. There's one person we follow massively, Crypto Bitcoin Chris, his name is, over on YouTube. He creates a lot of content. He has a big community of people watching him. He brings people over to basically a Patreon account, or else in touch with him through email, and brings them to a Telegram group where he has like 5 or 6 groups, and he connects with all his audience there. And he has around 2,000 members now, and he gets them. He charges anywhere between 100 to 500 per month, with that, because they're private communities. So we always say, content, community, and consistency as well. But if someone wants to get started, they got to focus on their brand, focusing on how it looks, how it feels, as well as with the other stuff as well. And now the thing we figured out was, okay, how do we do this organically? Because like Alex was talking about earlier, we had no money starting up at all. We were broke. So that's what we did. We connected with people by adding friends. We reached out to people by direct messaging on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and connected with people and became basically business partners, friends. And it's great crack. You're connecting with people who are as like-minded as yourself. And if people say no, go away, they're not your customer, they're not your friend. So we use Instagram a lot for direct messaging. We started out ourselves direct messaging people personally, but then we said this is unsustainable, because we were by ourselves doing this, and it was very slow because there was only 2 of us. We could only send probably around 20 to 50 messages on one Instagram account per day. So we had to make extra accounts. So if you ever search for me or Alex on Instagram, you'll probably find around 5 accounts, maybe 6, of our name, and they look very similar, but they're called dummy accounts, So like my main account is Daft Planet, and I like to keep everything daft, really. But with those accounts, you could actually multiply your messages per day. So I was direct messaging, not just 20, but I was messaging 100 people per day because of my Instagram DMs. And on top of that, we created the virtual assistants, and then we started using those as well to reach out for us. So we just started scaling massively. Like Grant Cardone says, you've got to 10x it. So we were like, right, we're not 10xing it, we're 100xing it. So that's what we did to connect with a lot of people. And then all you got to do after that then is just jump on a call and build that relationship.
And I'll add something there as well. So with those, with those virtual assistants that we had initially, like when we said no money versus, okay, now we're starting to make money, now we're starting to use these virtual assistants, we started doing cold outreach for our own business on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, like pretty much anywhere where we could message someone, we would try and do that. And also when we brought the virtual assistants in initially, we would like slam them into WhatsApp chats, right? So we create WhatsApp chats and we'd say to them, hey guys, what skills do you have? And they'd be like, oh, I'm great at social media management or whatever. We'd find the best one that was there. We'd blow up that or that WhatsApp chat, right? So you can put like 250 people in a WhatsApp chat per WhatsApp chat. But what we would do is create the system. Okay, what happens if WhatsApp's gone? Bring them on Discord. What happens if Discord's gone? Make sure they're on Telegram. What happens if the Telegram's gone? Make sure we have their number in a file. So a big part of it for us was like making backups so that in case one of those was gone, we would always have them elsewhere. Then finding a person or two people or three people within that we like to call sleeper cells, right? So we have like dots of different groups with various leaders and people who are really, really good at what they do. Because to maximize our time, what we did was basically we would train them on what they needed to know and then let them train the rest of them, right? So obviously you can scale rapidly with that. And the monetization part from that as well, also just with the SEO. So Dan has a massive background in search engine optimization. He did it in Australia for a company called ICU. And I started, I became friends with a guy in the Netherlands who was doing live streaming on YouTube. And I was like, hey man, teach me this because I see that you're ranking videos really, really quickly. So it blew my mind, the fact that he could like have a live stream and the thing's ranking and it just be getting like tons and tons of views with no money, right? Because again, at that time we had nothing. So I learned my skills from him. Dan learned them from ICU too. And then we basically came together getting reach for us as well. So to start, through various channels, we had different channels we were selling stuff from as well, all of that type of stuff. And then our own channel as well, we didn't really put that much effort into it, but actually this year we have content backed up, we have podcasts, we've a load of stuff pre-recorded, which I think this will be really, really valuable to people. We call rack it up, stack it up, back it up. So it's basically get that content. If you only have 2 hours in the week, sit down, record that content or go outside, do whatever content you have to do, back it up, have it on YouTube, right? Already uploaded, because it's not just your hard drive or your computer. If that gets fried, at least you still have it on YouTube as a backup. Set it as private, never set it as unlisted, or never set it as like live, because you lose the traction for the search engine optimization at the start. So we always say, have it there, have it ready, have your thumbnail, all of that stuff. I'll get into a bit more about YouTube in a minute, but in short, that is kind of some of the ways we monetize, and as well, making sure that we pull everything we can out of every platform. So when they come there, like Daniel mentioned, the spider's web, they land on that channel, make sure that they're going everywhere from it, right? So people will say, hey, YouTube or Facebook doesn't like when you take people off the platform. Yes, that's true, but through the channel art, you get away with it on YouTube, right? So when you have those links there, it doesn't count that. It counts it on the video if you have it in the SEO underneath the video. Yes, YouTube will recognize you've got like, shit tons of links in there that you're sending people off the platform. That's not good. But if you have one link there, that's okay. But in the channel art, if you make sure you always have a WhatsApp in that channel art, immediately connect here with me, right? So I also label myself as the connection expert. So I use that to my advantage. When they come to the YouTube channel, boom, they're immediately in that WhatsApp chat. So I'm capturing them, plus the Facebook, plus all of the other stuff as well. So these are ways of monetizing, and you might say, yeah, but you can't sell them initially. Okay, that's fine, but you can bring them into a WhatsApp chat where you've captured them and where you can speak to them,
Perfect. Okay. So now the center of the spider web, right? I just looking for clarity as we go in. But so in the center of the spider web, we can say, hey, what we're looking for, look, there's all of us, right? So if it's in the center of the spider web, we choose a Facebook group, or we're choosing a Telegram chat, or we're choosing the WhatsApp group itself, right, as your main hub to reach your people. So I know, like, for example, Sherry has a big Facebook group that she manages. She has several of them that she manages. And so to her, she would be then saying, I want to funnel everybody to the Facebook group. right?
Yeah.
And so like me with the War Games group, so I do one a month that's all about let me give back. So this is the one that goes on my Facebook page and says everybody needs to know this, so we'll come in. But then there's 3 other ones that nobody's going to see outside of the private group, right? And so to me, when I look at that, I would funnel everybody back to the War Games group if in fact we're talking sales, marketing, and mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. So then if I wanted to say, hey, private coaching or group coaching that's private, I could then do that in a WhatsApp or a Telegram, right?
Yeah.
So that way I could say, do you want direct access to me? It would be something like that. So that would be something for everybody to do. And then we can build off, the funnel page. We can build off all the other things that'll come up in that direction. So I just want to make sure I'm explaining it back out.
Yeah.
That everybody understands that that's what we're doing. Because the big thing I like to do is say, dude, let's get some actionable items here. I also say, I love that you guys did all the work to go figure that out, but I don't want to learn it, right? To me, I want to say, okay, guys, so how much does it take to run a YouTube thing where I go, here's my YouTube video, and you go, Joe, give me access so I can go fix this.
Yes.
Right. And also, do we have, like, for example, I know Jaime is good at building things within Builderall, right? And so I don't know if you have virtual assistants that are trained in Builderall that can get it done versus like ClickFunnels versus Kajabi. There you go.
Kajabi.
I sensed it that Sherry was going there, right? So if you have somebody that's specified to that, then they can reach out and say, I need a virtual assistant that you don't have to train because they've already been through that network you built up saying, I know how to do that really quickly, right? And then we can get inexpensively because they're in other parts of the world where the money is different, right?
Yeah. That's a big point that what you actually said there, Joe, as well, about them being in different parts of the world. And like, so we had them in many different countries. Then we had a lot from the Philippines as well. We had a lot from Thailand. We had a lot from South America. We heard some harrowing stories of people who just got totally scammed, like virtual assistants that work for us now that got really taken advantage of. And I felt so sorry for one of the ladies. She was saying like, oh, this guy came in and he said, do this for like a month. She did it without pay. And, he basically took a lot of money from her or didn't pay her. And we were like, okay, how do we stop that happening? And so how we did it was basically say to her, hey, listen, can you create a team? We'll pay you this amount, and we make sure. This is one thing that I think the space is lacking with the virtual assistants, that they either, like I said, either have no knowledge around what they're doing. They'll say they do, but when it comes down to it, they don't. And also they wouldn't be, a lot of them get taken advantage of. So what we do is we make sure we pay them a lot, whatever country they're in. And so that's really important for us. And building that culture around the actual MonsterCon Marketing Academy. So, having fun within the group, not just like you do, I guess, with war games and stuff like that. Not just, hey guys, do this, do that. No, we give them a task. If you can't do it, okay, that's fine. But we bring them back in again. So we don't say if they can't do something, you're gone. We say, come back in, let someone train you or try something different. And so that's why we've got a very loyal community of virtual assistants that love being part of what we're doing, and it's a vehicle for them to go where they want to go, and it's a vehicle for us where we want to go, and that's what we love about it.
And we actually have others as well that are, that really know their trade, basically, so they completely focus on, either building funnels or completely focus on their Facebook ads or Google ads or anything like that, building websites. But, within the MonsterCon Academy, because, myself and Alex have been through a lot before we even started our businesses, we learned everything from the ground up. So we pretty much, like when I was working in the factory, I was spending hours, 12-hour shifts, listening to podcasts, learning. Actually, on my phone, I had an iPhone 3 and I was building websites within the iPhone 3. So everything that we learned from listening to podcasts, testing out everything that we learned, because you always have to take action. Because if you don't take action, there will be nothing. You'll get nothing back in return. So, with all that, we're helping our virtual assistants grow and scale their own mindsets, their own skills, and they're becoming better every day because of it.
Okay, so I want to be selfish just because It's my show. I can be. Let's be real. But so when I look at it, right, I know because there's thoughts on here for other things. When I talked with you guys before, you guys blew my mind with, we could do this, and this when it came to marketing. So one of the things I'll tell you is that everyone knows that there's a bunch of fake Joes out there on social media, right? Everybody duplicates my account, uses my picture, and tries to give them money. So I was sitting there one day, opened up my DMs, and it says, you have a request. I click on the right, and it's Daniel, right? And I'm like, but wait, I know him. How did I get another message? I'm like, oh, man, somebody just spoofed his account too. So I screenshot and send it to him, and he's like, no, that's one of my other accounts, because what it was saying was, do you want to reach out to people in other people's DMs, right? And I was like, okay, well, there's a conversation to have here where you can DM people, right? And then as we talked earlier, Alexander had jumped on and left me a voice message, this long voice message. But what you said, and I want you to clarify, so I'm not talking out of turn, but you were saying we can mirror audiences of other people that are on Instagram. So I can look at their Instagram. So if you look at me and say, okay, if you're somebody who likes war games, we could go look and say Gary V or, my friend Ed Milet, right? Go copy who's there. And then you could DM people based off of their audience and explain to them in the DM that they should go check out war games, right? And then I could take that and lead them to the funnel page. And if I needed to, I would say, Alexander, please have somebody build me a funnel in this program, right? And so, because you have a virtual assistant to do that, and then it goes down, collects the money, boom, drops them right into the link to the group afterwards on the funnel page, right? Am I right in what I'm saying?
So I'll give you an example of the whole thing, right? So we have two different options with the direct messaging. So basically, we can send out massive blast DMs to 20,000 people to 1 million people all at once, for a 24-hour period to 48-hour period. And it will go into people's inboxes, but it will go into spam. But the thing about it is, if you look at Instagram, it comes up as, a 1 or a 2. So people will be like, oh, okay, I got a private message. They'll click on it and they'll look at it and they'll read it, or they'll delete, or they'll reply. But if you're messaging 20,000 people or 1 million people, some people are going to get back to you, So I'll get on to the other way in a second. But with this option, just recently, we're using this technique with a client of ours, and he is direct messaging a short message that's bringing them back to his Instagram account. They book a Zoom call, and he's booked with us now 4 times because of this. He's booked out every Zoom he's had, and he's made sales on every call afterwards, after every webinar he has. So he actually has a good webinar. You can't send people to a shit page or a rubbish page and think that you're going to make sales. You actually have to have value to give. You actually have to be able to sell at the end of it. It's very easy to get people into a website or a web page, but you need to get them to take action. It's all about keywords and, your copywriting and stuff like that. But there's another option as well. Well, that option is direct messaging people's followers. So basically, if I wanted to target Gary V or Grant Cardone, or even you, Joe, like all your followers, I can target every single one of those people by sending them all a direct message. But now here's the thing. We actually figured out a way to direct message people's followings, okay? But basically, people you follow. And the cool thing is here, if I'm direct messaging all your following, that means that you're following real accounts, real people, and they're high-ticket people as well. So that's very clever that way, right? So what we do is create dummy accounts. It takes time to do this, obviously. So we create dummy accounts. We follow on those dummy accounts everybody that we want to target. So if we want to target all Gary V's, let's say I go to you, Joe, actually, sorry. If I want to target your followings, I follow all your people, basically. And then I can actually, direct message every single one of those people. And it's very slow. I can message around 20 to 50 people per day. But if I created 5 accounts, then it just multiplies that by 5, So I'm messaging 100 people every day. But then I have to create all those separate accounts and follow all those people I want to personally message. And here's the cool thing: if I'm following a lot of people that are really high ticket, that means that's going to show up in my profile as well. Daniel is following Grant Cardone, all these other people. So that's the second option.
Okay. So let's look at this one. You have Sherry, who has her group, right? The Manifest to Millions. Sorry, I'm going to use hers, right? So she could go in and say, based on that group itself, there's a target audience of one person. So she can say, great, hey guys, send out 20,000 DMs that'll pop up in the requested side, right? And so at that point in time, if they do, so is it like 1% will click out of it? Is it 2%? Is it? I'm just looking for overall, and I know it'll change based on offers and stuff.
I'll just give an example with that 20,000 direct messaging thing that we do. So I'll give you an example. We just did one recently for our client, Marco Robinson, and we sent out a blast DM of 50,000 messages. And, we targeted a couple of people's followers. So Grant Cardone, Gary V, Girl Boss, a couple of others. And so far, and the campaign only just finished just a while ago, he has 151 people on his webinar booked. But the cool thing is he can only have 100 people on his webinar. So now that will keep growing for the rest of the week until Sunday when his webinar happens, because people don't check their inbox right away. They check it over a couple of days. So eventually he'll probably have 300 or 400 or 500 people there. And then he can only hold 100 people there. And he has his email campaign all set up. So he's sending them the webinar afterwards to rewatch. And then he's doing all his follow-ups then after that, booking calls and making sales.
Right. So they have to have the follow-up system. Yeah.
My question is, does that same thing apply to Evergreen webinars?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. As long as the messaging and the funnel is right. So the direct message that goes out to people has to be, correct. Like on our website, the client or the person that comes to the website enters in the message they want to send. And we actually go through it ourselves just to make sure the spellings are right and to make sure it's spaced right and looks right before it's actually sent out in the campaign. If the grammar's wrong, we fix the grammar. So we make sure that people get results instead of just sending out rubbish messages like spam to people, even though they are kind of spam, but they do work. And also, as well, we do not put links in the messages at all, or like website links, because if you see a website link on a direct message, it's extremely spammy. So what we do is put the Instagram handle to bring people back to the Instagram profile.
So they see it's legit, they don't think it's like...
Yeah. And plus it goes back to the original account. So they can be loads of dummy accounts, but they go back to the original account.
Okay, so let me jump in. Netta, you had a question?
Yes, you said something about you can go and find, let's say, Grant Cardone's followers and DM those followers. Can you do that from like dealership, like my competitor dealership? Can you go in and see who's following them and then DM them specifically?
So let's say, for example, that dealership, if you wanted to target a dealership, your competitor, for example, we can target their followers. Yes, all their followers. But if it was specific people, that's then a different service where we actually have to build the accounts and actually then send auto DMs all day long to the people that account is following. But yes, we can target people's, competitors, no problem. And not just one competitor, but like 5 or 6 competitors all at once.
Yep.
And it kind of spreads it out then.
If David, right? So David's got a kick-ass podcast and he does a lot of live interviews and things like that. So if he wanted to go out and say, let's go hit Gary V, right? And then hit his followers and tell them, hey, you know what? You should check out David's profile, link in the bio to check out the podcast, right? Then you could literally drive traffic to your own podcast that will help you to rank on, the Apple podcast, because Androids don't matter, right? So we do Apple podcast, and then as it starts to climb, then more people will see it. So you just literally be doing it. You could set up, let me do a consistent running of different people all the way through, right? Like if you look at Andy Frisella, because David had him on his show and stuff, you look, he's got hundreds of thousands of followers that you can go hit, and you can do it more than once, right? And hit their database more than once, because again, not everybody's going to answer or open a DM all the time.
And it will select random people every time. So it's, it's not just the last 20,000. It kind of messages, random people within that. But that's the problem with the massive blast. It can actually be messaging fake accounts as well, and also messaging a lot of people that might not be your target market because they're very poor, or maybe they're from different countries that you don't want to target. But that's why the other service
Canada,
where we're targeting.
You don't want to target Canada.
No, definitely not. I'm only joking. Canada's great.
That's where David's at, so I had to throw a dig in there. But so let's say, for example, so I got multiple people texting me and going through stuff. So when you look at it, so Matt, right, Koenig has a new book out. So he has that book launch. So I connected you guys. But technically, he could say, based on the title of my book, so if I'm going to do a book on sales for me, myself, I would go, my book on sales, target Grant's audience, right? And then send off, and they would come back to the page, click the link in the bio for the book. Yeah. And so then you could generate traffic to your own book, right? Whether it's a new release or not, right?
Yes. And we're actually doing this for a customer of ours as well. We're doing her book launch to blast out messages to her audience. So it's great because she has her audience, they know her. And if we're sending them back to her account, she'll get a higher percentage of people converting, because let's say if you're just random Joe and you're messaging Grant Cardone's audience, people don't know who you are, so you're messaging people and it looks like spam. But if you're, let's say, if you're large, pretty large, and if you have a large following, and you've done stuff that people see that, okay, this person is somebody, that maybe I'm interested in clicking in. So that's why it's important to have your profile looking awesome. You can't just have a rubbish looking profile on Instagram. It has to be professional looking. If you're in Forbes, add that in. It's fantastic. Like myself and Alex have done that. Because it just builds, what's the word I'm looking for?
Trust, brand credibility, right? Yeah.
Yes. And, put in nice images, professional images, people people you've met, and stuff like that,
Also, I love to say that Instagram is a canvas. You are the painter, That's the way I look at it. It's a canvas. You're a painter. Okay, what are you going to put on it? Does it speak to what you're doing, or does it not? Is it like just random, Some people have like businesses and they've got cat pictures up there, and I'm like, guys, like at least even if you don't fill your whole feed, at least have like 12 pictures of what you do, that when I go there, I know what you do. And Instagram bios, people mess this up big time. Like, make sure your bio is in order. It's a small thing. Like, it might sound as simple as it can be. You'd be surprised how many people don't have a proper bio or a link going off it. So, that's a given too.
So then we could technically, right? So I am ultimately lazy, right? I'm okay with working hard to accomplish something. But when I look at it, ultimately lazy, I could say, okay, right, Alexander, Daniel, I need to send off a bunch of DMs on Instagram, right? I live on Instagram. So, right, if I say I'm going to go send off a bunch of Instagram DMs, but I also need you to have a virtual assistant redo my profile, right? I also need to make sure that they go through and make sure that the first 20 pictures look good, right? So I was on a call with Colonel Jaime Ramirez, right? And the guy, it was a mastermind call, and it was Brad Lee. And then he pulled up my profile and he's like, let's go check Ingram, right? And he's like, okay, I can tell you're conservative. I can tell you're this, you're this, you're this. And I was like, oh man, he goes, you got dogs, you got kids, and I was like, okay. So I went in and I archived a bunch of stuff so that I could keep a lot more professional things up, because originally I set up like 4 different IG accounts so that of the different business names I have, I wanted to make sure I grabbed them. But then trying to manage all these accounts, I was like, this is pain. Which one do I post it on? And I don't want to be the one that posts the same thing on every one of them. So then I was like, I did one post on each one of the other ones and said, please go to my real page, right? Yeah. Please go see me at this one. Yeah.
And that's why you need a VA to manage that for you, because, the two of us were doing so much before we actually started building our VA business. Now we have them managing everything for us. All we do is jump on calls and just, we're the idea people. We come up with the ideas and actually figure out stuff, and then we start building it and scaling it after that.
It was funny because a friend of ours said to us like about maybe 10 months ago, he's like, what, you don't have a VA? And we're like, what's a VA? I swear to God, like we were like, we didn't even know, like we were like, that's an assistant of some sort. He's like, yeah, how are you living without one? And he sold us on that initially, and he was right. And once we saw that the one that we paid for the month or whatever, we saw, okay, this is working really, really well. We kept them for a while, but then, but it's really, really helpful.
I want to ask.
And so you guys are okay with people contacting you on WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you say, yeah, I'm gonna change it down there. Look at that. What? Mac on WhatsApp. There's his number, everybody.
Nice.
Oh, no. My phone's going to be hopping.
Yes, we're going to make sure everybody reaches out to you and goes there. So again,
if I don't get back to you tonight, I'll get back to you tomorrow morning.
Yes, you have a turnkey system that you can sit back and you can customize it. Like one of the things I was talking with Sherry this morning, right? And she has the Evergreen Webinar, right? And so with the Evergreen Webinar, right, as we had talked, Alexander and I had talked before, was you could run it 24 hours a day on YouTube, and you guys have the actual virtual assistant staff that could then direct everybody to the funnel, right? Or direct them to Sherry's WhatsApp. I'll put that up next. No, I'm just kidding, right? You direct them to Sherry's WhatsApp that her virtual assistant can access that WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Right. And start funneling everybody to the right page to make sure they move through the process or the steps to the sale. Right.
Yeah. So with that, just really quickly. So the power of YouTube Live, man, like the power of live in general, we're actually working on a live stream with a German counterpart at the moment. We've been looking into it for a good few years, various ways of doing stuff. We have found ways of doing YouTube Live that's very, very beneficial. So what you just mentioned there, Joe, having YouTube Live, so we have multiple servers. We've like servers upon servers upon servers where we can run anything we want on the channel once we have the stream key. So in the case of a webinar, we can loop that over and over and over and over again. And like you said, have a virtual assistant in that chat watching it all the time, or if not one, a group of them, they take turns. If the subscriber base is big enough, you can even put in a random bot that will fire off messages. You can actually set that bot to do it at certain times. Hey guys, look at this, look at that, look at this. And an example of this is Coca-Cola. So if you look at Coca-Cola's YouTube channel, just before the pandemic, the whole thing started, they had no content up there, right? Very, very little. From that time to this time, that's been months and months and months, if not, it's been a very, very long time. They have uploaded every piece of content they have from every country in the world, in every language in the world. Every piece of content they've started uploading on their YouTube channel. And what they've done with that is very simple. They do not have it running live, right? Which they should have it running live, but they don't. If they did, they would be making millions in sales from what they want to do. So the point of this is the power of YouTube Live is insane. The capabilities that we have on the back end to be able to change stuff, bring stuff in, bring stuff out. I could put this right now, what we're doing, live on YouTube Live, on another channel somewhere. I could put that if I had someone else's stream key. I could put that there. I could do a lot of stuff, right? So there's various things we also did even with our own town that we live in. Just before the pandemic, we started running a live stream for hotels. And on that hotel live stream, we basically ranked #1 for Ireland. So anybody who typed in anywhere in the world that was typing in Ireland or hotels Ireland, we were ranking #1 for. The reason being with the search engine optimization. And then from that, we could have been selling basically tourism stuff all day long. No, we didn't because the pandemic hit, but we use it for different stuff, But like the Evergreen Webinar, boom, live on YouTube, okay. And then ranking, because the key is the ranking. It's you ranking that for what you want to have them find it for. I often use the chocolate cake analogy where someone types into Google or YouTube, how do I bake a chocolate cake? They hit enter, they're going to hit a video. Now, whether that video is your video or someone else's video depends on your search engine optimization capabilities. And we are very, very good at that.
I want to ask a question. So I have a show that I've interviewed very famous people, High Vibe Nation. It's on YouTube. I would like to grow it. I don't have very many. I mean, I have, a certain amount of subscribers, but I want to grow it massive. I want to make massive impact.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to know how to do because, I mean, on top of all this other stuff.
Here's the cool thing. You don't have to know how to do it. All you need to do is just hire us to do it.
Okay.
But I mean, like,
That's
it's very
selling
simple,
right there. I love it.
But with what we do, we get your video found not only within YouTube but also Google as well. Because once the keywords start ranking, when people are searching those keywords within Google as well, your video starts showing up in the search feed. If you search for certain keywords, sometimes there's like 5 or 6 videos underneath on the search feed. You look at those. When your video starts ranking, eventually you'll start ranking there. Now, we've only been doing this with YouTube over a year, but SEO takes time. And, usually with SEO, it takes 6 to 12 months to start ranking. But the way we do it, we can start ranking keywords very fast. Now, we haven't seen the long-term impact of the videos, for like a 12-month period to 2 years or 3 years of what we do, but we are very sure that your video starts ranking forever, scaling massively for lots of people to see it. Now, what we do, we bring in, we do the SEO, we bring in views to your video. Because we're bringing in those views, the SEO starts ranking quickly because people start seeing it. Once somebody starts seeing your video, their friends start seeing it on their feeds. It's a bit like Instagram or Facebook or something like that, where people start viewing stuff. Their friends start seeing the same things because they're connected. On YouTube, it's very similar as well, because everyone has a Google account and I'm connected to you guys. You probably have something very similar to me on your YouTube as well. If you viewed something, I probably see it too. If we're connected in some sort of way within Gmail, with emails or YouTube or something like that. So, all that.
Robert's making sure his friend list is hidden everywhere, so that you can't go after his audience.
Sure. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. We're good at that. But along with the thumbnail as well, so the thumbnail has to stand out, very important, and the title of the video and what you're saying in the video, Alex, to get into the audio recognition, because it's actually insane the way it works. Well, the keywords you say start helping your video rank as well, and along with keywords that you use in the SEO and the title and description and the views, everything together, your video will be found by the people that are searching for that. Those certain keywords.
Awesome. That's awesome. Like my Evergreen webinar, for example, is done in Kajabi, and it's set up where at the end of the video it tells them the offer automatically.
Okay. Can I ask a question? With that Evergreen webinar, do you have videos, let's say, on YouTube, kind of bringing people over to that webinar? So let's say, have you like a playlist that actually is just built especially to bring people over to your Evergreen? So for example, there's a guy that we follow, Mike Maloney from goldsilver.com, and what he has is a 10 video series, and if you search for him, you'll see that 10 video series on his playlist on his front page. And on that front page, the 10 videos, they're all numbered, so his thumbnails are fantastic. If you find a video belong to him, you could find number 7, and it's all about how money works, basically, and how money was created, why money is so important, and different types of money like Bitcoin, gold, and silver. And he goes into this in 10 videos. They're high production value, but it doesn't have to be like that. As long as they're numbered and as long as they're very informative, he has on every single one of those videos at the end a sales pitch, basically, and during that whole video to bring people over to his website, goldsilver.com. And at the end of it, he has his big banner. And because he has so many followers, you can actually put a link at the very end of the video. So you can click that link and go straight to the website. So you're buying, by the end of it, you're like, okay, I need gold, I need silver, I need this or that. You're going over twice.
And the audio recognition part that Dan was talking about there, I first figured this out when I did a video for a charity I have called Beautiful Souls, based out of Kentucky in the States. Basically, living in Poland, right? I did zero SEO on the video. I was like, I'll go shoot a video about living in Poland, right? So I just kept saying living in Poland, living in Poland, living in Poland. What happened was I went back 2 days later, the video blows up, it's getting all this traffic. I'm like, where is it coming from? So I start commenting on the comments and all of that. It starts just blasting out, right? It starts going crazy, getting thousands and thousands of views. So I'm like, then there's something in this, because I haven't done any search engine optimization on it. YouTube's picking up audio, right? And anyone we say it to, they're like, it makes so much sense. Yep, they started doing it about 2 years ago. It picks it up, right? And it picks up what you say. So in the case of long tail, short tail keywords, when I'm talking about, hey, I love baking a chocolate cake. This is how you bake a chocolate cake. This is what you do. You get your spoon and you bake a chocolate cake. You bake a chocolate cake. You bake a chocolate cake. Chocolate cake, chocolate cake, chocolate cake. It ranks it for chocolate cake when the search engine optimization is done along with the audio. It ranks it much faster, much quicker. And so even in your Evergreen webinar, if someone was pre-recording content for doing videos or anything like that, what happens is if you pre-think it and you do it on purpose and you know what you're talking about, you'll start ranking for that. And then, the other thing what Dan was saying there about Mike Maloney, goldsilver.com, a very interesting thing we saw with one guy, he was a marketer. He just did a simple Facebook ad, targeted all these bunch of people, said, hey guys, I've got a free list on YouTube, free playlist on YouTube. Go over and check it out. Just click the link below this video. So he was bringing them from a simple Facebook ad straight onto his YouTube playlist, 10 videos, or no, actually he had a free 100 video playlist, but you don't need to do that. But I'm just saying he had a free 100 one. He was closing them by video 6. By video 6, just by saying in that free information, boom, 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 4 or 5 videos. The playlist was ranked, the playlist was optimized, and he had a sales pitch in every video. He was leading them into it. By video 4 or by 6, he was closing them. So,
And like going back to the spider's web analogy, that was his spider's web, his YouTube channel, the center of it.
And his name's what? Mike Maloney?
Mike Maloney.
Yeah.
How do you spell Maloney? M-E-L-O-N-E?
Can I drop a link in here in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
Or drop it in the chat. Oh. So any questions for any of the VIPs that are up here? We are watching the comments, but so far I'm seeing the first thing everyone needs to do is reach out to you guys. And if only Alexander's number was up on the screen now, that would be great, right? And so expect a voice message back from him, everybody. So what we looked at was you can DM companies' Instagrams or influencer Instagrams. You can build that audience, send it out to everybody, right? Whatever offer you have, going back to it. You guys create the dummy accounts, right?
Yep.
Is that part of it? Yeah. So then you create the dummy account. And then from there, they would bounce on. Now, again, let me go be selfish.
What is
Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like me. Okay. So I've been kicked off of my ad manager for Facebook and Instagram. Does that mean I could utilize you guys to put ads out? So I say, hey, you got a Facebook ad specialist or whatever, and then I could work with that virtual assistant to do it that way, right?
We actually have so many people that actually have different ads accounts, so we can actually manage people's ads account off their accounts. So it's massive, really, because if you think about it, you as one person, I think you can have maybe 5 or 6 different business accounts within the ads manager alone. And then if you start losing one of those, you can create another one. But if you lose 2 of them, you can't create any more, which is a nuisance. It happened to me, but you can actually contact Facebook again and get them to reopen your account if you know how to do it. And, I've done it so many times now. I've communicated with Facebook one-on-one, had a conversation with somebody, and they reactivated my account. So that can happen as well if you still have your account, basically. But if you have, like myself and Alex have, lots of virtual assistants, we use their accounts to actually build more accounts. So we can create, all we need to do is get connected to, if let's say, for example, all we need to do is get connected to someone's Facebook business page, and then we can advertise as them because you need a Facebook business page to run ads, basically. And then if that business page was connected to the Instagram account, then the ads can be run through that as well.
Perfect. So we're going to be talking more. Yes.
Yeah.
I've gone through all of the ad manager little tutorials. When I finished it, I emailed support and said, so now can you turn it back on now that I know? And then
Let's connect afterwards and I can help you get that reactivated.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me because just last week I had my ads on Facebook for High Vibe Nation, and all I did was pick what Joe taught me how to pick a while ago. So Joe, it's your fault. And
of course.
Long story short, they sent me an email, and they basically said that my account had been stopped.
It's an email that looks like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, what the heck? I haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
With
I noticed
Facebook
it was right after I became friends with David Morrell that I ended up on their naughty list. So
I think it was the other way around. For sure.
It is quite possible. Yes.
Yeah.
So
you got to be very careful with your Facebook ads because if you say certain keywords. With Facebook ads, if you say certain keywords or if you mention certain things or even your images have some skin, they don't like any of that.
Mine do.
They do.
Yeah, you have to. Facebook ads, I don't even get it. Sometimes they reject them and you have no idea why. And you scout. Yeah. You're looking at it. You're like, I don't understand why this doesn't fall into the guidelines. It makes no sense to me. And you're looking like it could be the sale of a house.
Yeah.
Sold XYZ. And it comes down to even a symbol or something.
Yeah, and it's the way you speak to people as well on your copy. So if you're saying your last, or I can help you fix this or fix that, you got to be very careful, promising people things. And even, that's it.
Perfect.
Well, at least you figured out a workaround.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. We got a workaround. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So Instagram DM for advertising. You guys have only given us like 2-3 pieces, right? 24-hour YouTube channels, right? Running the stuff. You run it on multiple accounts at the same time, driving it all back. You have the staff to help it, right? And so like with me, I'm sitting back going, okay, guys, I'm going to need help with ad manager myself, right? I want to do the direct DM one after I get the funnel built, right? Because again, it needs to be a whole system that gets put into place. Because what I don't want is, let's say 1% of the 20,000 DMs go out. That's 200 people. I don't need 200 DMs in my inbox trying to get to me when I should have said, oops, let's click the link in my bio. Don't just reach out to me and talk to me, kind of thing.
Exactly.
And so that's where I would lean on you guys and say here. So just out of curiosity, if I said, okay, guys, it's 20,000 people to DM. How cost effective is that for like the people here and go, hey, War Games people, it'll be this much money?
So we charge $255 to direct message 20,000 people.
Damn, that's beautiful.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean,
and
like,
thought it was going to be really expensive right now. Everybody was like, oh, he's going to say it's $1,000 to do 20,000 people.
Well, what if we're in the position you were once in where we're broke and trying to sell where you're at?
But like, if myself and Alex understood what we know right now at the start, well, I suppose we wouldn't have the skill sets of what we had right now. But if we knew this at the very start, the opportunities would have been insane for us, because we can instead of direct messaging 1 or 2 people or 20 people a day or 100 people a day, we're messaging 20,000 people all at once. So it's insane. And the conversion rate so far, it's working pretty well. Like, it really depends as well on the message. So if you have a crappy message, it's not going to work very well for you. If you don't have your link in your bio correct, it's not going to work for you properly. If you have a funnel and it's rubbish, it's not going to work for you. You have to do everything correctly on the other side. It's not just the message, it's not just the DMs, it's everything else as well.
Now, do you identify that, like, let's say the funnel's set up and do you look through the funnel and you say, oh, okay, you know what, there's some pieces that need to be added?
Yeah, let's say now, for example, depending on, let's say, the amount of orders we get now, we can actually jump in and have a quick look and see if everything looks okay, and then we can kind of, because we have people's WhatsApp numbers or we have their phone number within the order book, we can actually then send them a message on Instagram as well, and let them know, okay, before we do this campaign, I think you should fix this or maybe change this, So we do kind of, help people, because if we're not getting if you're not getting results, we're not getting results because you're not going to come back to us, And we want repeat customers with every service we have, and so that's why we try to offer the very best of what we do.
That's awesome.
And then we'll just give you referrals.
I did have a question in my head, and it may have been answered already. But on conversion rates or response rates, like, do you have a guideline on that? Obviously, it's up to the individual based on what you just said about how good their funnel is and where they're going, et cetera. But do you have a response? Like, is it a 3% response rate for
It really depends on the messaging because, like, for example, we blasted a message ourselves just recently, and I got around maybe 100 messages back, all interested in the direct messaging service that we offer. And I made 2 sales out of that. So we made, profit from it. A client came to us from that, and he sent out messages as well, and he got 300 responses because he was targeting real estate, and he got responses from his competitor, so it was great that way.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked that, I'm in real estate, and if you're at a 2% conversion rate or 3% conversion or whatever response rate, like, that's pretty good. So it's based on volume, right? Yeah. So you're gonna have to. 20,000 kind of doesn't cut it. You got to keep going, like. You know what I'm saying?
So I'll give you an example with that. So there's another person that purchased for the 4th time there, right? For the first 3 times, he went 20,000 messages, and he was booked out in his webinar all 3 times. Now he went with 50,000, and so far today he has like 153 people booked. So, and it was faster than last time. So
see,
the conversion rate is
that's impressive numbers. Like, that's pretty good response rate. And I think too, this is kind of talking about, I think it's better, like, direct response marketing and social media does better than it does online now, right? Like, it just does better than, Google, sometimes pay-per-click, whatever it might be. So DMing is the way to go. I don't know. I think it just makes perfect sense to me.
It's still spamming people's inboxes, but some people are interested, some people aren't. But
it's still,
they read it. Where they don't read an email, right? And I get them every day, and it's like, you should check out my mentor who does da 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 da, and I'm like, what is this, right? And the only one I've ever responded to has been you, Daniel, because I was like, I know this guy. What is going on? And I was like, dude, what are you doing? I love this. Yeah.
And I'll tell you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll tell you the cool thing is, when you send out so many messages, people start recognizing you as well. So you start gaining followers. People start going, okay, I've seen this message like 10 times. I'm going to actually make a sale now. I'm not a seller, but I'm going to purchase this time. So it takes around 7 times for a person to take action.
So some of the people, like I would say most of the people that we initially DM'd without this service, like day 1, up with like between the first 2 years, a lot of those clients, a lot of them are still with us today. And that's just from us reaching out to them and having a good service, so that was a really cool thing. So the fact that we now blast DM, it's even easier,
Now, do you have people who are specifically geared towards doing the research on the messaging that can do your messaging as well?
We can do that. Yeah, because we have description writers as well. They're copywriters. They're book writers basically, and they're English speaking, and they're based in the UK and America and Canada, and they actually do our professional services. So basically, professional descriptions and copywriting. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you need that service done, we can do it.
One of the things I want to mention before we end up, because we just ran over a little bit, but you guys have been phenomenal. Right. And I know everybody on the screen's like, who are going to go contact you? So, but one of the things that we had talked about before, which was something I hadn't thought about, but Alexander had thrown it at me because I said, recruiting staff, right. And creating stuff. So like Zuckerberg made a call to somebody at Indeed, right. And then they don't like me now. So I can't post there, but it's possible to get a virtual assistant, right, that speaks English and Spanish that can go post job ads and filter the resumes right? Yep. And then go schedule interviews and confirm them before that, right? So that your schedule is booked without having to do it. And it's a lot more cost effective than having a full-time staffer at your office doing the same thing, right? Yep. And that's just one more thing that, if you know, just to throw out to everybody, that's something I never thought of. And
they can book, and they record, like, so this recording that you see, we have them, so any calls we have booked that comes through from Calendly, they will qualify them beforehand. So they'll check, is this person worth pursuing? You know, do they have a good background? Then they'll go back and forth with us in a WhatsApp chat. They'll enter the meeting before us. They'll notify us on top of Calendly notifying us so we don't miss it if it's really important. And then they will also, it gets recorded, so they switch on the recording, they welcome them in, they welcome us in, hey guys, then they go off camera, and then they will come back afterwards and they'll say, hey, do you need, you want a recording of this video? No problem, we'll send it to your email. Or during the call, we would say to them, let's say, for example, Linda, hey Linda, we'll make sure you take notes on that. And she'll be like, yeah, no problem. They'll just open the mic, yes, no problem, boom, close the mic, you continue on your chat. And so the person that, you know, you've just chatted with gets everything they need immediately after the call, so that you also don't lose that traction, because we all know, you know, if you leave that time gap too long, some people can be like, oh, they're not really professional, they're not really responsive quickly. And so we make sure that we do like rapid speed response. Once we've been on a call, hey guys, great, boom, immediate response. They have an email in their inbox from our virtual assistant, well, from our email, etc., etc. They have their, you know, the recording of the video, whatever it is that they wanted, they've got. And so that gives us a higher percentage conversion rate versus if we were not doing that.
So let's go again. One other thing, because this hit me too. David has a show that he books guests on. Sherry has a show she books guests on. I have a show I book guests on, right? Other people listening are doing it in the same boat. So we could truly give them a list of people to go after, right? Whether in the DMs or email and what have you, and say, here's my top 50 people I would like on my show. Yep. Right. And then have them go and try to book through whatever channels they need to and to go through. Right. And so it's like, I've helped so many people get Sharon Lecter on their show because Sherry and I know Sharon Lecter. Right. And so then it's funny because I'm always like, hey, Sharon, just letting you know, I'm reaching out to Angie. Right, to get this, and she's like, thank you for realizing. I'm like, I'm just letting you know that you just don't see something pop up out of nowhere, because I know who to get to, right? Danny at Grant Cardone's office, that's how you get Grant to get anything on his schedule, right? All of these things, you just have to know who to talk to get it. And then, you know, that's what I'm saying, is that you could go out and say, guys, go after these people to get them as guests on my show and put it together.
And because a lot of these people are, you know, they're connecting with other virtual assistants as well that are working for those people. They're relating with each other as well. So maybe they're friends. You never know.
Right. And they can just slip something on the schedule. Yes.
Yeah.
But perfect. All right. Any other questions to those people out in Facebook world and beyond? Right. Anybody else on the stage have a question? Because I need to bounce to the next training. And otherwise, guys, I truly appreciate everything you've thrown out there today. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity going through the MonsterCon marketing. And so just reference War Games so they know why you're stocking them. That's out there. And, we'll get there. Now, did they just go, if they go to the MonsterCon marketing page, they can click contact us and just put in there and you guys will get it? You should have a VA that would get that. Yeah.
Actually, within the MonsterCon marketing website, there we have actually all these little logos of the different webs or the different services we have. If you click on any of those little logos, it brings you to the actual service page, or else it sends you to WhatsApp, or else it sends you to a calendar link. So also, if you try to exit the page, our calendar should pop up to book us. And Joe, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity as well to be on here.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Joe.
Absolutely.
As well. And yeah, it's been.
And what time is it for you guys? Because I know it's screwed up.
11.
What time is it?
11:11, almost.
There you go.
11:11.
So 11 p.m. for you guys. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you guys staying up late and checking, because WhatsApp says Alexander's sleeping. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
So,
But he's
yes.
never asleep.
So, thank you, everybody, for taking time to come in. I highly encourage you guys, reach out to Alexander and Mac and see how they can help you scale your business, increase it with marketing, or to actually get more conversions and more business that direction. So as always,
nice to meet you all as well.
Likewise.
As always, go out and sell something. Thanks, everybody.